Hey guys, Jared here with 999 Adventures. This is, the first type of video I've made like this. I've considered this for a while. Up until now, really, my channel has been about strictly theme park rides and experiences. This video, as you can probably see in the description, is specifically about Halloween Horror Nights 29 at Universal Orlando this year, which I'm super excited about. This is really the first time that I've sat down in front of my desk like this with my workspace behind me and just wanted to discuss a particular topic. So with Halloween Horror Nights now less than a month away, the start date is September the 6th. It's a Friday night. That is opening night. My first trip will be that Sunday, which is the 8th. So really looking forward to it. My second planned trip at this point is October the 11th. Looking forward to that one as well. I just wanted to talk about what I think, what's been released so far, what's out there. So far, everything has been announced. Today, Monday, the 12th of August, we finally got the announcement for the scare zones, and they did not sprinkle it, one here, one there, over the course of the week. They gave them all to us at once. So the 5 scare zones announced today are Zombieland Double Tap. That movie hasn't actually come out yet, but I guess it's supposed to be based on the original and the upcoming sequel that's soon to be released. And the second and probably maybe most exciting, I would say, scare zone anticipated one at this point is Rob Zombie, Hellbilly Deluxe. That one was rumored to be the movies and music of Rob Zombie, but nothing really specific. It's now been announced. It's called Hellbilly Deluxe. If I hope, have listened to some Rob Zombie music, White Zombie back in the day, and then just Rob Zombie on his own. But a lot of really great music. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably a fan of Rob Zombie. You're a fan of his movies that he's done. He's obviously an avid horror film lover, which obviously influenced his music, and then it influenced his own movies and writing and directing and stuff. So pretty excited. If anybody has the love and the passion for doing something like this, it's him for sure. So his movies have been fantastic, and that's the scare zones. They're both IP related, obviously. Actually, technically not. I guess Rob Zombie's technically not an IP related, because it's not directly from a movie, but it's from somebody famous that does famous movies and music that's in the horror realm. So I still consider that. Obviously, they had that's something that they outsourced, I guess, is a good way to put it, versus something that they own that's Universal's original creation. So the 5 scare zones is Zombieland Double Tap, Rob Zombie Hellbilly Deluxe, Hellbilly Deluxe, Anarcade. So Anarchy and Arcade are basically fused together. Vanity Ball and Vikings Undead. So the Anarch Arcade is an 80s inspired arcade, has taken over Avenue of the Stars, which will be the walkway up where Despicable Me is on your left, Shrek is on your right. You're heading towards the New York area. So that section right there is going to be the Avenue of the Stars. And it says here, at first glance you may think it's a party, however you quickly learn that game over means a permanent end for you. A gang of neon slashers are out to play, and this is one game you won't want to lose. So sticking with that sort of 80s theme that they did last year, they've sort of started in this year with the Stranger Things house. I'm really excited about this scare zone. This isn't a very big and popular scare zone area. It's usually one of the ones that seems kind of lesser out of the rest. It's the quick upfront one that doesn't seem like it gets as much attention. But I'm really looking forward to this one. I guess it could be really good or really bad, and my experience. I know other people are probably much more opinionated, but I feel like pretty much everything I've seen is really good that Universal does. I think they do a great job. I'm sure everybody has their own opinions about how something could be better or whatever, but anyways, I think this could be totally cool. So, there was a scare zone rumored to be plastic surgery, and that turned out to be Vanity Ball. And if you see the artwork here, you'll see that it's definitely like plastic surgery. So I'd say that's basically a rumor that came true as well. The speculation map that was released, basically at this point all came true, which was pretty awesome. Some of the names changed a little bit. The Ghostbusters house, for example, just had a ghost on it. Pretty cool kind of watching along and seeing those things come, and as each one kind of popped up, you were more sure that the rest of them were also going to be true, which would mean that the only thing that hasn't been announced yet is House of a Thousand Corpse. By surprise, we got Us, Jordan Peele's movie that came out not too long ago, his second horror movie that he's put together, second movie period. So Vanity Ball looks very plastic surgery, but also sort of like dollish, like not quite human. I don't really know how to explain the images that I get in my head, but I think kind of, I don't know, kind of toyish in a way. This particular strip where it's supposed to be is the Hollywood area, and it says here, beauty is a pain, literally, in the streets of Hollywood. Your flesh becomes the canvas as blade-wielding artists slice up willing participants into horrific living works of art. Here, going under the knife takes a whole other meaning. So, kind of like Hostel, but they put you back together and try to piece you up. Oh, that's what it kind of reminds me of. Dexter. Remember the, I think it was season 2, season 3, the ice truck killer where he would drain all the body out, and the dude turned out to be like, he was a surgeon that dealt with like prosthetics and stuff like that and amputations. So he would dice the body up into these perfect pieces and then like wrap them as gifts and stuff for Dexter. And then there was an episode where he puts like the Barbie doll with the sections tied off with like red bows and stuff like in his freezer, so he finds it like he gets into his apartment. This artwork reminds me of that the most. Now I finally connected the dots, if you will, of where I was feeling that from. So this reminds me of that in some sort of weird way, but totally big area. And what I was saying about Chucky last year was in that area. If you remember, there was this one particular scene, you know, one of the rollaway deals where there was like the doctor and he would stand on it and there was the patient and it was upright and he would be carted and whatever, and he hit the button and water would shoot out. Anyways, when I heard plastic surgery and I knew that it was going to be in this area, I specifically remembered that piece from the Chucky area last year and thought, I bet they thought that was so cool. Maybe they expounded upon it. I can be completely wrong, but I feel like there's going to be some of that. That's, you know, my thought anyways, my guesses, and so we'll see what happens. Probably one of the more popular areas is the Central Park area. As you pass the diner on your left, the horror makeup show on your right, and you head towards E.T. and the Simpsons area, there's that canopy tree area that you walk through. Last year it was Twisted Tradition, where I had all the pumpkins and stuff that were actually left over from the previous year, which was Trick or Treat. That area the last 2 years, in my opinion, has been the most beautiful, I should say, colors, and it's really dark, so it just really captures it. I mean, Killer Clowns was great last year. Man, who am I kidding? They were all great last year. They were all fantastic. But I'm just thinking, like, picture-wise, like, great photos to capture a video and just the real vibrant colors coming through on film was, I think, Killer Clowns and Twisted Tradition, and the year previous to that being Trick or Treat. That blew my mind. I just thought that was just absolutely incredible. So anyways, that's where Vikings Undead's going to be at this year. Guessing the pumpkins are gone, clearly. So I have no idea what to expect. It's kind of an odd thing, I guess. I guess that means that Vikings were zombies, maybe. So now to the houses. The first house that was announced super earlier than last year, was the announcement that they're bringing back Stranger Things. Stranger Things last year was extremely successful. One that I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it or how it was going to go over, or if it turned out to be a really great house. And what I've learned over the last few years of me going, that I actually end up liking all of the original houses, or my favorite ends up being an original house, an original concept done by Universal. And maybe that's because I don't quite know what to expect and I'm getting myself into, so everything's a complete surprise and everything's new, and it's obviously also so creative, and the props and just everything's just fantastic. And so with the movies, I think it's a little bit harder for them to maybe do that, because there's only so much creative expression, I guess, creative freedom that they can get out of that, because they're essentially already boxed in by the story that's already been written, and so they just have to try to put that forth as good as possible. The point is, it was a super awesome house. It was really great, and I really felt like I was getting to experience the show. They brought it back this year, and this is going to be based on season 2 and 3 combined. Anyways, the second thing that was announced was an original house, and that was Nightingale's Blood Pit. This is completely new to me, but from what I understand, and obviously the internet and all that, Nightingale's itself has been an idea that's been put together from Universal in the past, and I believe this is the third rendition of the Nightingale series, kind of like with Scary Tales. They've repeated that story in a sense, but changed it. But that allows them to bring along, their characters that they've created, and sort of redeploy that, reimagine that into a new thrill. The next one that was announced, I guess, is technically IP, but it was the Universal Monsters, which is an original house, but an IP that clearly Universal owns, that Universal is very famous for. So another house that's been announced was Depths of Fear, and 2 years ago they did a house called Deep Water, I believe is what it was called, and the font and colors are very similar to me of Depths of Fear, so I'm really hoping actually that it's pretty similar to that, because that was an amazing house. That was the one that you walked in and it had this huge riverboat, like Louisiana swamp, super cool. So the next house that was mentioned was Yeti, Terror of the Yukon, which is supposed to be an expansion of the Yeti-themed section of Slaughter Cinema, which was the B-movie horror original house that they did last year that was really friggin' cool. I'm hoping it reminds me of like the snowy section of like The Shining, for example. I just, probably out of all the horror movies that I like, that I've watched, that I'm totally into, for some reason I just always like the ones that have Christmas involved, probably because I love Christmas also, and so it feels like the perfect mashup between two things I love, Halloween and Christmas, and so it just seems to make the perfect sort of setting for a horror movie. So I guess when I think of that cold and that snow and in the house, it sort of brings those memories to me. So the first, I guess, huge announcement that I would consider to be huge that we got was Ghostbusters. That was definitely one that people had been wanting for years. That it was kind of one of those things like, will it happen? Could it happen? And now with the new movie supposed to be coming out with the original actors, it seemed like the perfect time for me for them to do this. Like the timing just seemed like it was good. Because of Ghostbusters being at Halloween Horror Nights and the Zombieland Scare Zone, there's 2 movies that have Bill Murray in it that are going to appear. He was fantastic in both. I think it's hilarious in Zombieland how he's just like rich and chilling and acting like he's a dead zombie, and then he gets blasted so badly for being a fake zombie, because they thought they were going to pull a prank on the dude, and he tripped out and blood shot him. Oh man, that was terrible. It was like a sad moment in a funny horror movie. The next announcement that we got was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I think this is going to be great. I think it's going to be fantastic. It was an amazing scare zone last year. It wasn't scary in any means whatsoever, but this is a horror movie that, in my opinion, I could be wrong, and no offense to the to the peoples that were a part of making the movie. I've always felt it as like a B movie horror film. It wasn't super gory or crazy. It was kind of funny. Felt very, low budget-ish when it came to certain things. But it was still like a classic movie. To the point where 3-4 years ago, probably more like 3 years ago, when I was getting my daughter into horror films and I was showing her things like Halloween for the first time, for example, that Killer Clowns from Outer Space was one that I made it a point to show her. And I said, "You've got to watch this, let's watch this together," and we did. And not only did she like it, but she loved it, and she watched it 3, 4, 5 other times by herself. So Killer Clowns from Outer Space has that effect on you. It's weird, it's different, it's unique. It's got a great soundtrack. The characters are cool, the costumes are cool, but it's not, it's nothing. You're not really scared when you watch it. And so the Scare Zone was very much the same way, but the Scare Zone, as I said earlier, was very beautiful. The characters were great, just hanging out. It was, it was like the party zone. You go there and just chill, hang out, take selfies with clowns and stuff. So that was cool. Anyways, it seemed like a no-brainer that they were going to make it a house this year, which led me to believe that it was going to be one that they would announce early on, because it was one that most people already thought was going to come true, like just as much so as Stranger Things. And they announced Stranger Things so early on that if they were trying to hold on to the big secrets towards the end, for whatever reason, I just felt like Killer Clowns was going to be the next one announced, and then it continued to not be. So it was odd to me that it ended up kind of being so far down the line in announcements, but it's here. Surprise. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know if the house will be scary at all. I assume there might be a few jump scares or something, but I'm just going to think that it's awesome walking through the inside of the circus tent spaceship. That'll be cool. And the cotton candy smells. There's a Bang energy drink, if y'all like that sort of thing, sugar-free, whatever else, but it's cotton candy flavor, and I'm telling you right now, it is so good, and it reminds me of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and that's become like my morning routine. Instead of stopping and getting a cup of coffee, I stop and get a Bang cotton candy, and I just think about Halloween Horror Nights. I told you, I'm hooked. I can't believe it's happening. It's less than a month away. I'm extremely excited. So the next one that ended up getting announced was just a week ago. And it's Jordan Peele's Us. And that was the one that was actually out of everything besides the originals, because you're not really sure, but it wasn't even on a speculation map. It was rumored, or everything's rumored because no officials come out and made a statement or whatever, but it replaced an original house, so we ended up getting another IP-related house instead. So then the next one that got announced, it's actually an original that I think I'm the most excited about out of originals. I know that I said I forget the name at the moment, but the Deep Waters where they won, Louisiana, I'm excited about that. But when this one got announced with the artwork attached to it, I just thought that the artwork looked fantastic, and that's Graveyard Games. It looks like it's going to be really cool. I just hope that it is. I'm really excited about that one. I definitely feel like that's going to be one that I'm going to want to go through multiple times. And I think that might be because when I look at the artwork, it does remind me of like the Graveyard Haunted Mansion type in a bit. There's a ghostly figure in the image that does remind me of like the Bride in the Attic. That's probably where that's coming in. Maybe that's because that's really my only points of reference. But I do see similarities there. I'm sure when you think Graveyard and Ghost and, they're all going to look probably pretty similar. So anyways, I think it's the color tones and stuff in the image as well, but I'm looking forward to that as well. And then up until today, we had not heard anything as far as scare zones, and I've been seeing people go to the park and walk around, and there just being like a few lighting structures, and we're only a few weeks away at this point, and how are they not announced the scare zones? Because they got to like put stuff out, right? And they got to start working on that. And then today we just got a flood of info, and the Academy of Villains. I was like, well, why didn't they announce that already? But today they came along and they announced the 5 scare zones and the Academy of Villains were coming back. And so now we have 9 out of the 10 houses being announced. We have all 5 scare zones. We have Academy of Villains. Obviously, there's going to be the rides like there is every year. The one house that hasn't been announced, as I've said, the rumor is House of a Thousand Corpses. So from a year that I, very early on, because I've been obsessing over this for months and paying attention to it and just trying to get every piece of information. And then I didn't even make a single video. I just kept looking at other people's videos and going, ooh, is there any new information? You know, where can I find it? What am I looking for? And so a passion for it, I just wanted to make my own and put that out there. Anyways, I'm super excited about Halloween Horror Nights this year. I hope that it's everything that I'm anticipating at this point. I'm already thinking about next year, you know, the 30th. Like, what are they gonna do then? So, anyways, hope to see you all out there. Hope you all check out some of my videos from last year. Some of the videos coming up. I hope to do more of this, sitting in front of a camera, talking, giving my opinion and thoughts and feelings. Not really sure what those topics are going to be yet. But anyways, thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe, give a like to this video if there was any portion of this that was worth watching, I suppose. Thanks for watching. See you soon.